What's going on, Cam?
Oh, hi. Hello.
Hey,
How are you, sir?
we're doing all right. We, as in
All
my
right.
wife. My wife is behind me.
Hello.
So,
Trying to wave around you.
So we got a bunch of snow, more snow. You know how last time I said I'm ready for spring?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's ready for the rapture now.
I'm ready for the rapture.
Did you guys lose power at all?
No, we were good. It was
Okay.
south of here where they had a lot of the ice. They lost power. Matter of fact, the company that I work for, we have a store in Racine, and we called them today, and they didn't have any power, which was actually kind of funny when he was talking about it, because I work in receiving, and we were talking to one of the guys in receiving. They have like powered dock plates for, they come up and then they make a little
Yeah,
bridge
yeah.
to go into the truck. And they couldn't put any of them up because they ran on power and they didn't have any power. So I
Don't
don't
you
know
guys
how they were
sell
unlocking
generators?
trucks.
Like, how
Well,
do you guys not have?
there's a generator hooked up, but it's prioritized for certain areas of the store.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
yeah, they make sure all the cash registers are working. So
Got to keep
And
that
like
money flowing.
lights.
yeah, and some lights, not all lights, just enough so that it's not completely pitch black inside. So
Welcome to spooky shopping
spooky shopping at the place that I
at
can't
the
say
local
because I
place.
don't want to get in trouble.
Fair
All
enough.
right.
Well, I'm glad you guys didn't lose power.
Yeah, we
Did you
we
have
were
a
okay.
Did you have a whimsical snowball fight with your neighbors?
I did not actually,
I think
but
you
I
might have
did.
killed us if we...
But over the last 48 hours, I have done snow removal in three different times. So the snow blowing out the driveway and the sidewalks and the approach, I had to do that three different times because of how much snow we got.
Yikes.
So I think we probably came out around 8 inches total. So it was a snowpocalypse up here.
And it was all rain down here.
Yeah. So
Just mud central.
yeah, I'm sorry, man.
That's all right.
I would have kindly taken the rain and given you the snow.
I'd have taken the snow because having a dog and a muddy backyard is not a fun combo.
I bet. Let him jump around in the snow.
Exactly. He loves it and he doesn't get muddy. It's a win-win, except when it melts and then there's mud. So
Yep.
it's
Right
just
on.
delaying the inevitable. But anyways,
Anyway, I wanted to just kind of give some impressions on my MacBook Air now that I've had it for a little while, and I think I've talked about a couple of these things, but the Touch ID actually has become kind of a little hero of the whole thing, because all the times that I would have had to type the password in before, a majority of those times now I can just reach up and touch the Touch ID. This is my first MacBook with the Touch ID.
yeah, it's
So-
awesome, isn't it?
It's very cool. So, and I think still like the battery life is just killing me. I love how long this battery lasts. I charge it Monday nights because I've got a class Monday night that I'm in, so I have it plugged in over here. But I can literally leave it off the charger the rest of the week. Not to say that I use it a lot, but I'm using it on and off throughout the week. And I don't put it back on the charger sometimes until Saturday night, so that it's ready to go for church on Sunday morning. And I have
That's
used,
impressive.
I had taken a day off a couple weeks ago for another snow day, that I sat and edited audio for probably 2 hours, and it barely put a dent in that battery, which is just crazy. So, but yes, I'm really, really actually quite shocked by how good this laptop has been. So very happy.
And what color did you go with again?
I've got midnight.
That's a time. That's not a color.
Well, it's a color in my book. It looks
My
like
MacBook,
that.
my MacBook Air is color is 430.
Anyway, how's that USB port doing for you?
It is alive. So a while back, you have the M2 MacBook Air.
That's correct.
I have the M1 MacBook Air, which I am still in love with and will not replace for years because it's, you were going from a really, really old MacBook Pro that didn't work unless it was plugged in, right?
Correct.
And I went from nothing. I went from a PC, a gaming PC, to a MacBook Air because my original MacBook Air that I had for like 5 years, died before like 5 years ago, and couldn't afford one, yada, yada, yada. So anyways, I have a MacBook Air now, M1, that I got when it came out, and it's been amazing. I love it. Same feelings you have about yours just being newer and faster and a little more powerful. And recently there's it's two USB-C ports on the left side and a headphone jack on the right side. Within the last month or two, the USB-C port closest to the screen and the hinge,
the charging port,
stopped working.
Yeah,
just stopped working. So I was down to a MacBook Solo, really, one USB-C port. Now I've got a USB-C dock that has 3 USB-A ports, an Ethernet port, power port, HDMI, and SD card. So I was still able to do a lot of things, but not having that second port would not allow me to use my external displays along with those other things. So not a huge deal. I could still record. I could still do everything I needed to do, just with less screen real estate. So more of an inconvenience than anything really. And I learned to live with it, for like the last, I think, 6 weeks or so. And then there was an update to macOS Ventura that just came out the other day, and I just updated and didn't think anything about it. And I accidentally, this is one of those more serendipitous things where like I didn't even think to check. I just accidentally plugged my power USB-C cord into the one that was broken before, with just not even thinking about it. And that's how I figured out, holy crap, it works again. So I think I haven't done the research to look this up, but I'm pretty sure that there was a fix in the latest, because the computer still recognized that the USB-C port was there, like it existed, but it wasn't allowing any power to come through or any external hard drives, or like it acknowledged the port was there, but it wasn't acknowledging anything that was connecting to it. And so I think it was just a software issue. And so I'm fairly certain, without having actually looked into this before the show, that the new update fixed whatever was causing the issue with that USB-C port, and now it's back alive again. And I totally found out by accident, which is like the best when you have those happy accidents. I'm like, oh, it works again. Great. Right. So yeah, so now it's back to both ports, and like I said, it was a minor inconvenience, but now I'm just happy that the computer that I paid a good amount of money is fully functional again. So that's all, just a little bit of follow up there. So if any, because I found out this was more of a widespread problem than I had originally thought when I started, asking the internet, like, hey, why did this happen? And there's just forums on Apple's website of like, it's broken, and the people are like buying replacement kits for like $60 and like opening their computers, and I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Like, that's not worth it. And I'm glad I didn't, because now it works again. So
yeah, I would.
But it was an issue for a while.
Things.
Yeah. So anyways, if anyone out there had a similar issue, update to the newest version of Ventura and see if it fixes it for you.
I will tell you, one of the cooler things I like about the new one is that MagSafe.
Yeah, I don't have that. I miss MagSafe.
Yeah,
a lot.
So
I don't know why they got rid of it. It was I have literally seen MagSafe save laptops on multiple occasions in my life, where like had it been where it is on my computer, just a USB-C cord in, the laptop would have been dead because someone tripped over the cord and the laptop would have gone down. So
and the USB ports on my last MacBook were actually starting to get a little loose because you had that plugged in all the time. So it just loosened it up over time.
And so yours, you've got the MagSafe plus the 2 USB-C ports, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yep. Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's really nice to have a dedicated power port.
Right, and then you can have 2 ports that you don't have to even do power pass through. You can just have them dedicated to like hard drives or displays or whatever without the pass through. That's awesome.
Now, one of the cool things too is that the one that you were talking about, the USB that's closest to the monitor, I can still plug that in for power. So if I've got a USB cable, like I did this the other day where I had my backup battery in a USB cable, and I plugged it in and it actually charged the battery back up. So that's kind of nice to have that option if
for
you
sure,
need it.
especially in a pinch, right?
Yeah.
Because people are more likely to have a USB-C cable than they are a MagSafe one if they're not, Mac users or just whatever. Like if they just have an iPad, you could borrow their iPad charger because that's on USB-C too.
And I'm not going to lie,
convenient.
I really like that these cables are braided.
And color matched, right?
And color matched, yep. So,
yeah.
It's really nice. I like it.
It's little things, right?
It's the little things. Absolutely. That's why we pay the big bucks. All right. There was one other thing that I had that I cannot remember for the life of me that I wanted to talk about on the show today, but it is so gone.
Aaron Rodgers' future with the Packers.
We're playing a little wait and see game on this right now. I don't know. I don't care either way. I think if he wanted to play another season with us, that'd be great. If he leaves and Jordan Love becomes the new starting quarterback, I think he's ready. So either way, I think we've got a good season ahead of us.
I only mean this slightly tongue in cheek. It can't get much worse than this last season for you guys.
It can get worse, but not much. You're right.
Well, but compared to the standard you guys have had for the last 20 years, this past season was a disappointment, right?
Yeah, so. And crazy as disappointing as it was, we still almost made it into the playoffs. And by one game.
Sorry about that, by the way.
It is what it is, man. You guys outplayed us.
It's funny how
it's
funny. Sorry, go ahead.
You guys just outplayed us. I think you played well and we didn't show up and we didn't play the way we should have. So I don't really remember the game that much. I think I'm blocking it. I've erased it from my brain.
It's the interesting thing to me about sports is how the Lions and Packers can have very, very similar records, but because of where those teams are coming from and the trajectories they've been on, Lions fans are over the moon with how we did this season and how we rallied, and Packers fans are like, oh gosh, man, should have made the playoffs, shoulda, coulda, woulda, and it's just amazing how two teams with such similar records can have such different like levels of either disappointment or excitement about, what's next. And I think that's one of the things that just entertains me about sports is just all the different variables and storylines and, all that sort of stuff. And as someone who's watched Aaron Rodgers beat the Lions left, right, upside down, and sideways, like just his whole career, I will say beating the Packers in Lambeau to end the season was
I forgot it was in Lambeau.
A feeling I have not had in a long, long, long time. Yeah, and it was so the Seahawks won, so the Lions were out no matter what. But if the Packers won, they were in. Yeah, and so it was. Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to bring up old wounds or whatever, but it was.
I'm okay.
An unexpected end to the season for the Lions, which
Brewers spring training starts on Saturday. So
I was going to say your baseball's coming.
Yep.
At least you're not.
They still have the best. Oh yeah, well, I think anyone who was a Browns fan probably shouldn't be after they signed Deshaun Watson to that stupid contract. But that's a whole nother discussion that we don't necessarily need to get into now. So for all sorts of reasons.
We're at our Bible study this last Tuesday, or not this last Tuesday, but the Tuesday before, and one of the guys that goes to our Bible study is a huge Browns fan. He grew up in that area, and so he's a really big Browns fan. And it's hilarious because we were talking about this theory that, about when the rapture is going to happen. And so
right before the Browns play the Super Bowl, right?
So there's a theory out there that says that it could happen between 2023 and 2026. based on a whole bunch of stuff that I won't get into. But so he just kind of looks at my pastor and says, "So you're saying the Browns aren't going to the Super Bowl?" We all had a good laugh about it. It was pretty funny.
That's good.
So
I will say before we finish our sports ball section of the show, the
Yes.
Brewers do have the best logo in baseball.
Amen.
I would 100% agree, and I can't believe that we went through a time with the Brewers where they weren't using that logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
oversight.
dark
Although
times.
I will say the second best logo in baseball is not even in the majors. It's in the minor league system. It belongs to the Montgomery Biscuits, who are an affiliate, or they were an affiliate for the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't know if they've moved, major league affiliations, but their hat is bright yellow. The bill is like royal blue, and their logo is a biscuit with googly eyes and a chunk of butter for a tongue.
Okay.
It's
Where is it?
amazing. I had a Montgomery Biscuits hat just for that reason that I wore. And there's a couple guys, do you know Ben Zobrist played for the Cubs and the Rays and the Royals when they won the World Series?
I really don't.
Anyways, he went to the college here in town. And so I went to a Rays Chicago White Sox game back in the day and got him to sign my Montgomery Biscuits hat because he played for them in the minors, and it was a good time. He was so surprised. He's like, "It's like, hey, can I get your autograph, Ben?" And I handed him my Biscuits hat, and he was like, "Dude, no way," because like everyone else was handing him Rays stuff, So it was fun.
I'm just looking for a hat right now.
Montgomery Biscuits.
Oh, the shop. Check it. I see the biscuit. I'm looking for a hat. Oh, that is hilarious. I love it.
That's pretty.
That's like quintessential minor league baseball, right?
It
there.
is. Well,
They got a Stuffy.
hey, they've got a Montgomery biscuit Stuffy. I can't show you this because I'm looking at it on my other computer, but
It's all good. I
It's-
can imagine the cuteness.
it's very, very cool. All right. Anyway. All right. Are we ready to move on?
I'm gonna respectfully
Yes.
bow out.
All right. My wife is
I
going
gotta
to.
go start my seventh Harry Potter book.
We lose to J.K. Rowling yet again.
Yeah. Arr. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the main course for tonight. All right. So we are recording on a Thursday night, and we thought we would have a little bit of fun tonight since there really isn't a whole lot Apple-wise going on right now. I will say that I am very much paying attention to whether or not we're going to see a show or a Apple event invite coming out here in the next week because of my Buck Wild pick for the year, that there's going to be an Apple event between March 6th and 10th. So the invite would technically have to come out this next week. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll find out. But in the meantime, we cracked open the pod decks again. And I picked
pod decks.
Yeah.
We're gonna play some pod decks. Yeah.
We do need a theme song for that. But so I grabbed a deck called Techie because it fits in with our theme. And so these questions are going to be techie related, and I'm going to see if I can share my screen with you. It's on my iPhone. So I think I can plug this in, so this will make this a little bit easier. So that is plugged in, and we'll go iPhone with cable. See if you can see this, and you are seeing that now, right?
Oh, I am.
Very nice.
The wonders of technology.
The wonders of technology, indeed. So our first question, what tech item or app that other people love are you refusing to try?
Can I go first?
Absolutely.
Anything Mastodon related.
Oh, that hurts my heart, dude. I have been enjoying Mastodon a lot. But
Well, and that's why I answered it that way, because I know
Mhm.
it's not the popular opinion.
I don't know really, because a lot of times I will check out an app and enjoy it. Oh, I would say TikTok definitely would be
There you go.
one that yeah, I can't do TikTok. Ugh. Makes my heart hurt. I downloaded it once
Oh yeah.
and I opened it up and the first 3 videos were of women shaking stuff at me and I
Yeah, no,
immediately
it's way too
clo-
horny. It's
closed
way
the
too
app.
horny.
Closed the app and immediately deleted it from my phone and said, "Nope, this is not for me." So,
Yep.
all right.
My second answer to that question would be Google Glass, but that would just be ironic.
Yeah. What's a feature you wish smartphones could do?
Fax things.
Do you want to fax with your smartphone?
I'm just trying to think of what it can't do. Like, you prepare my dinner for me. Like, I mean, we're at the point where like they do everything they need to do, right?
All right. So I have what might be a controversial idea here. I am really all in for our smartphones, our iPhones in particular, to be able to sideload apps.
Okay. That's a good one.
I think it's something that's likely going to happen, but it's going to take legislation to make it possible. But I would really love to be able to go to the internet as a savvy tech guy, to be able to go to the internet and download an app that is not approved by Apple, but I still want to try it.
That's fair. That's a good one. I like it.
And if it could make me dinner, that'd be awesome too. What's your favorite app?
Oh, golly. Oh, boy.
This is such a tough one.
I mean, okay, so I feel like we need to like put some caveats on this because like my initial answer would be Safari because it gives me the internet, right? But I don't think that's necessarily the spirit of the question.
Right.
So I think we can like throw out sort of like those either like super big, like, you know, like, oh, email or internet, you know, and focus on apps that like do a thing, right? That's my thought anyways. What do you think?
No, for sure. So
otherwise my answer is Safari.
Yeah. So I would say let's make it, what's your favorite third-party app?
Obsidian.
Okay.
I have gotten like I've always been, you know, like big Obsidian boy energy over here. But within the last week, I've been a member of the Obsidian Discord for a while, but never really engaged a whole lot. I just wanted to keep up on like release notes and if anything, you know, major was happening. But within the last week and a half, I've like really dove into the Discord and like I've discovered new plugins and themes and different concepts and way to construct things and how to filter stuff with data view more functionally than I had in the past. And I've really sort of reinvigorated my interest in making Obsidian my go-to app for all of my notes, all of my study, all of my research, all of my writing, and really just letting it be this thriving, you know, ecosystem of knowledge that I'm collecting, whether it's through things that I'm reading, things that I'm listening to, things that I'm writing, all of that sort of stuff, and finding ways to surface the things that matter the most to me and make it look really pretty in the process. So that's my answer.
Excellent. So if you saw that I was just flipping around on my phone a little bit, do you notice the time?
Yeah, it's an hour ahead of what?
It's a little less than an hour, but it's like off. Why is the time off on my phone?
I think it's because you're screen sharing. I think it's just a static time.
Oh, maybe.
I don't think it's changed this whole time.
That's weird. All right. Anyway. So I would, you know, I hemmed and hawed just a little bit as you were giving your answer, But I think for an app that just constantly, I'm surprised at the capabilities of this app. I'd have to say Carrot Weather.
Nice.
I love the fact that I have so much weather information at my fingertips. Lately it's been like one of the things that I've had to do quite a bit is come up with, hold on. You go over there. With the snow and stuff that we've had in our area lately, to go into all the little weather sources that I can look up and like cycle through the sources and see what each one of them is saying about the weather, which some of them are so wrong. It's just ridiculous. But in going through and even the ones that I trust, like right now it's telling me that Monday we're supposed to get 15 inches of snow according to Apple Weather.
Oh my gosh.
And according to AccuWeather, we might get an inch, maybe.
What other area of professionalism can you be that wrong?
I know,
and still
right?
Keep your job.
It's crazy. But I love all the stinking features of Carrot Weather. The maps. You can look at the radar. You can look at the forecast map. You can go in and look at specific radar towers. You can pull up like base reflexivity maps, and there's just so much
You
stuff
have like
that you
the
can mess
super
around
high, the super high subscription though, right? For all
I
that
do.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know that all of it requires that, but you're right. I do have a super high.
Because I don't
subscription.
think I can see like the different radar towers and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it's nice. So, all right. Next question. What's your favorite book about technology?
The Bible. Okay, I got a chuckle. I was like, really nothing?
Yeah, outside of the problem was I'm thinking, you know what? I think I agree with that answer.
My favorite book about tech?
I don't know if I've got anything.
Maybe one of Federico's ebooks that he's written over the years about like shortcuts or editorial back in the day. But I don't really read books about technology.
No, I don't either. So I was just looking at my bookshelf behind me, and it's mostly, actually, to be honest with you, it's mostly journals. None of them written in, by the way. Got some Star Wars books. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. All right, moving on. Do you think there's value in living a simpler life with less technology?
Yeah. But I also think there's pros and cons to both, right?
True.
And there's, if you're living life with less technology, you probably have more control over privacy and people's access to your things.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting served ads. Like there's plenty of benefits to living life with less technology, but there's also, things that you miss out on, such as convenience and fun and perhaps knowledge. And it's a personal choice, right? There's some days I wish I lived completely off the grid.
Yeah.
And there's other days where I'm like, I love the internet.
How did I live without any of this stuff?
Yeah. So is there value to it? Absolutely. But I don't think it's that simple of an answer.
At work today, I was talking to the old guys group. We have a group of old guys that like to sit in the break room and talk about, how dumb us young kids are. And we were talking, and I was like, I use my GPS a lot. And they're like, well, why? You don't know how to get places? You don't know how to use a map? Like, I'm like, no, because the GPS is like way simpler to use. I've had maps in the car before and had to try and navigate by a map. And it's not as easy.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I use GPS really is if I'm going someplace I've never been, or I'm on a decently long trip and I want to make sure that I'm on the fastest route. Like, because it'll know if there's an accident 30 miles up the road and give you an option to go around it. But that's
So
that's about it.
I literally, if I'm leaving town, regardless of if I've never been there before or if I've been there hundreds of times, I will put the GPS on. And the reason for that is I always know where I am, how far away I am to the exit that I need to get off on. Did I miss the exit? Oh, nope. It's about a mile up here yet. You know, I always have all the information that I need when I need it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really, really nice to have. So anyway, is there value to living a simpler life with less technology? I think to some degree I wouldn't disagree with this, but I don't know that I would want for that simpler life enough to give up some of the conveniences that I have.
That's fair.
All right. Has technology ever let you down? What happened? That USB port's working now, so.
Oh yeah, it's
Has technology ever let you down?
like, no, it was you. It was me, not you. I'm sorry. Take me back. Use me. I mean, like, yeah, like hard drives have crashed at inopportune times, right? And you've lost data or whatever.
Yeah.
Like my computer died during a work interview where I had a set amount of time to finish a project, and I had to finish it on my iPad back when you couldn't get work done on an iPad.
Yeah.
But guess what? I got work done on an iPad. But like, let me down personally? No. Like, the way this is worded is interesting. Like, has technology ever broken and made my day worse? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But
anyway,
like, let me down on like an emotional or philosophical level? No.
I just kind of hate this question, so I think we're going to move on. What could ever be replaced by technology? I'm sorry, what could never be replaced by technology? And why not?
Humor.
Women.
Not touching that one.
I couldn't replace my wife with technology.
Why not?
Let's move on. How has technology changed the way you travel?
I get to places on time. Like, well, no, but like before, you like, travel agents aren't really a thing anymore, right? Because
you can still use travel agents. They're just not as widespread.
You can, but you can also just go to Expedia.com and look at all of the different flights, and you can book all of it yourself, and you can check in online, and you don't have to print your tickets off at the airport unless you want to. You can use your phone for your ticket. Like, it's streamlined a lot of the process with air travel. And you mentioned how you use your GPS on your all the time when you're driving to let you, it's the comfort blanket of, oh no, I still have the mile. I haven't passed the exit yet. What time I'm going to arrive, all that sort of stuff. And then the ability to communicate while you're traveling with other people over your phone.
Yeah. Well, Find My Friends has been huge.
Mm-hmm. It's made travel far less daunting and far more efficient.
You can take a crap ton of pictures and not have to worry about, is this one going to be worth getting developed?
Yeah. I only have 16 shots on this roll. I must be very, very careful. Yeah, you just.
Well, I think, and one of the other things that my wife and I have really taken advantage of when we've taken a couple of trips now is that we'll get to where we're going without a car and then just be able to Uber.
Mm-hmm.
Get an Uber real easy and go where we want to go. And that's been a really huge thing for some of the best vacations that we've had. We flew down to Orlando here a couple of years ago and Ubered everywhere. So it was nice, not me being the only driver in the family, to not have to worry about driving everywhere. So,
Yeah. Well, especially in a city you don't know, right?
right.
Like just the ease of
Yeah,
like, all
because
right,
you would have been, okay, we're going to such and such a place. Let me look and see where I've got to go, and then you've got the stress of like being in traffic and not knowing which lane you're supposed to be in, and it's just you'd let somebody else do that. So
mm-hmm.
it's good. Google Maps or Waze
Apple Maps.
or Apple Maps. You go
Yeah,
Apple Maps?
I just use Apple Maps.
Okay. I've been using Waze again for a while. I like it. It works. All right. How has technology impacted education?
Oh boy.
So I will say that one of the things that I've really appreciated is the ability to go on the internet, sign up for a service, and learn a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that thing might be. If I want to learn how to code, I can sign up with, a new coding site, or even like LinkedIn Learning does a lot of stuff like that with variety of business topics and stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's that side of it, right? And then there's also the like online courses through universities or high schools, right? Like,
Right.
and think of, throughout the COVID pandemic, how many kids were learning, going to school on their computers from home because schools were shut down.
Right.
Or even the ability to get, a college degree completely online. I mean, I graduated college in 2008, and that was relatively unheard of. You could take like a course or a few online,
Mm-hmm.
but getting your entire degree online was not really a thing at that point, at least not widespread. And now it's like you can get your master's degree completely online.
Yeah.
And your doctorate half online and half in person. Like it has made tech or education more accessible to more people, meaning that they can get to programs virtually that they can never get to physically.
Right.
Because they can't afford to, live where that school is, or they're tied to their location because of family, but they can online get an education from a better university that's physically elsewhere. So yeah, but then there's also the flip side of it too, right? Like there's all the benefits of technology, but there's always a negative to everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're dependent on computers, and we're reading on our computers and taking notes on our computers and talking to people through our computers. And I wonder how much of the in-person, like I think of like my education growing up, I would say 90% of my education was in a classroom with real people, with paper books, pen and paper, and the only technology was like an overhead projector.
Yeah.
That my teacher was writing on. You know what I mean? And just now maybe I'm just being nostalgic, but like it was all interpersonal communication and interactive communication, and eye contact and physical proximity, and that you miss that stuff when you're totally online. Like you and I have never met in person.
Correct.
We've never high-fived, we've never hugged, we've never had a meal together, right? And so like we have a relationship and we're friends,
Mm-hmm.
but it's different in that we have never actually shared the same space,
Right.
right? And that's just fundamentally different. But had the internet not existed, you and I never would have met,
Right.
nor would we have ever had this podcast. So like there's, again, pros and cons to all of this.
Right.
And one is not inherently better than the other or worse, but it's just there's certain things you get with technology and there's certain things you lose. And this goes back to that, is there value in a simpler life? Like it's a personal choice with how you choose to use or not use what's available to you.
If something goes wrong with your technology, do you figure it out yourself or call in an expert?
I am the expert.
It depends on what it is. Like it's hardware related, I'm probably not going to crack it open and do it myself. But software related, I'll probably bang on it until I reach my limit and then reach out to somebody.
Yeah, no, I'm fixing it myself if I can.
Do you prefer digital cameras or film cameras? Can you even get a film camera anymore?
I do have a film camera. It's a
Oh,
little
do you?
35 millimeter. Yeah.
Oh, well, this is a good question for you then.
I still prefer digital because I can control 100% of the entire life cycle, from shooting to culling to editing to sharing or printing. Like, I control the entire life cycle of a digital photo. Whereas with film, I'm responsible for taking the picture and then sending it to someone and having them print it. And I don't have a dark room, so I can't process the film myself, and in the processing make creative decisions on how I process it. Now, I took a film camera, a film photography class in high school, and we had a dark room, and so I got to learn about the process of of taking film and creating prints, and the different ways that you can affect the way a print turns out based on the processes and the chemicals that you use or don't use. But that was in 2004. So, I don't really have access to the dark room or anything like that anymore. And a lot of the digital tools that you can use now, you can get very close to film like looks if that's what you're after. But I do have a little 35 millimeter point and shoot film camera that I carry around with me when I'm with my daughter from time to time. I haven't developed any of the photos yet because I just want to take like 10 rolls at one time and have it be like 2 years worth of photos and just get them all made at once. But because part of it too is on a film camera, you don't know if you nail the exposure until you print it or have it, printed for you. So that's part of the fun of it. But no, I still prefer digital for all the reasons I stated.
Yep, I haven't had a film camera in a decade. So I don't know. My phone camera's always been enough for me. So
they're getting real good.
Do you think AI will ever become sentient?
I mean, it has to eventually, right?
Man,
like on an infinite time scale.
On an infinite time scale, but man, I hope not.
If it does, I just hope I'm not around for it, if I can be selfish.
How do classrooms look different now from when you were in school? Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, when I was in school, they felt huge. And now when I go into them, they feel tiny because I'm not 3.5 feet tall.
Yeah. I think the priorities of a school and what the agenda is in the school is a lot different now than it used to be. And I'm not sure that I want to go into all the ins and outs of that, but
oh, you're talking curriculum, not just physical classroom. Okay.
Yeah, like, well, even just, I don't know. I just saw a video yesterday of a kid who was taken on a school board saying that basically you're not here to teach me anymore. You're indoctrinating me into your agenda, and pointing out specific things that were happening throughout the previous year that he was objecting to, and all of which he had a perfectly good reason to object to. Everything from racism to, just how they were promoting diversity and inclusion in the schools, that it became more about that than it was about them learning anything. And it was an interesting point of view, and I think our schools are suffering for a lot of that stuff. But I could go into more detail, but I'm going to leave it at that.
Fair enough.
Do you accept cookies? I love cookies.
Only if they're homemade. That's what I'll say.
So speaking of, my wife made the Ted Lasso biscuits.
Mm-hmm.
We have not had them yet. She actually just made them tonight, and they're upstairs cooling. But I'm
They're
interested
glorious.
to try them. So
My so like I mentioned earlier, I don't think we were recording yet, but my grandparents immigrated from Scotland in the 50s.
yeah.
And, shortbread is a very Scottish dessert. Well, very, we'll just say British in broad terms. Um, and so my mom has my great grandma's shortbread recipe from way back in the day. And my youngest sister is a pretty good baker. And so every Christmas she makes my great grandma's shortbread recipe, and it is so good. So much butter. It's so good.
Let's look at this question and understand it is not talking about dessert. This is referring to computer cookies. And yeah, I accept cookies, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I I suppose. Yeah, never mind. We won't go into it.
Okay.
It's fine.
How smart is your home?
Uh, Generally very, but my some of my smart lights are acting kind of stupid right now, Mitch.
I have a light or two, the Philips Whiz lights that I've got. I've had a couple of them misbehaving lately.
Yeah, so my bedroom, my kitchen, my living room, and my daughter's bedroom all have smart lights. Which leaves the only room that doesn't is the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have one HomePod Mini. I've got Sonos home theater stuff in the family room and a Sonos soundbar in my bedroom, and then I've got two cameras, one for the front, one for the back. Um, and for whatever reason, the light bulbs that I have in the living room, there are eight of them. Well, technically, there's 10 lights in the living room. I have eight on one fixture where they all kind of like hang at different heights,
Mm-hmm.
And those are all nanoleaf essential bulbs. And then I've got a lamp behind the TV, and then I've got a little reading lamp on my reading table. Um, but the eight lights that are in that fixture, um, seven of them were working great, and one of them is just like doing its own thing. And I've deleted it and I've re-added it. I've powered it, removed it from the power and put it back in, and it's just going rogue, man. And none of them have updates. And it's only been within the last week, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's about. But it's frustrating when you be like, "Hey, lady in the can, set this scene," and
Mm-hmm.
seven of the eight lights do it, and then the other one's like, "Nope, just gonna be red." Ruin the whole thing.
So I have three smart lights in the studio here. Um, Really smart stuff in general. I don't have a ton. We have an Ecobee thermostat that I
See,
haven't
that's
really.
what I wish I had a thermostat. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
I really haven't had any problems with it. It does what it's supposed to do, and we have a couple of smart plugs that we use that for the most part behave. And then there's a light bulb up in the bedroom, and I have a smart plug in the bedroom that the fan is plugged into. So, we run a fan at night when we're sleeping just to kind of give a little white noise. But beyond that, like I don't have a lot of stuff here that's smart. Um, Most of our technology here is still dumb. But yeah. Uh There is the occasional thing where I have something that is HomeKit enabled, that I have Amazon Echoes through the whole house. We've got at least one on each floor. I've got one right in front of me, and in front of the computer here, I've got a little Echo Show, and we've got a couple up on the main floor and one up in the bedroom. And so that's for us to be able to turn on and off lights and stuff like that. But it is funny sometimes, especially in the living room, we run into this where we ask the Amazon girl in a tube to turn off the lights, and it won't do it. And then we'll call on Siri to do it, and Siri does it right away. And we just like, see, we had to call on your sister to do this. So it's kind of funny.
You like trash talking computers.
I know, right? Like neither one of them cares. But yeah, so that's how smart my home is. Pretty dumb. When you get a new tech toy, do you read the instructions or just figure it out?
I mean, do like iPads come with instructions? You just turn it on, right? Like,
so
I'm trying to think like.
So I will agree. Apple devices, typically there's really not much in the way of instructions that you get because we've all used them. So there's really not much that we don't know about them. So.
Well, like when I got my Rodecaster Pro a couple of years ago, like I read the instructions on that because I wanted to know what all the knobs did, what all the buttons did, you know, the different settings I could have for the different microphones. So like something like that, absolutely. And if I'm not reading the instructions, I'm watching like a walkthrough tutorial and review on YouTube from someone that I trust, right? Or like when I got my MIDI controller, like I watched a bunch of videos on that because there's so many knobs and buttons and settings, right? But like something as simple as like a phone or a tablet or a computer, like no. But yeah, something that I suppose fits more in the toy category, then yeah, I'm probably am doing my due diligence for sure.
So there's two situations where I'll read the instructions for an item. Number one is, like you said, it's a more complicated thing that, it really would pay to know what all these things do. But sometimes I'm buying a device that I'm super excited about, and I want to know everything that there is to know about this thing. So I will download the manual online and read the entire manual cover to cover before I even get it. Whatever it is. So
that's next level.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a long time, but there's been a few items that I've done that on. So
I picture you on lunch break and your feet up on the chair, just you're reading the manual to like your new like weed whacker, like whatever.
Oh yeah. Overall, do computers save you time or waste more of your time?
How do we define computer?
Oh, we can be pretty liberal with the definition.
I mean, they save me time when it comes to productivity related things, but I waste a lot of time watching funny videos or playing games on them. So this is not a and or this is like a both and. Yeah, they save me a ton of time when I'm working. But then I also like to waste, but wasting time, like that's seen as such like a negative thing. Like it's also entertainment, right? I'm not sitting here banging my head against a wall for 2 hours trying to get something to work. I'm playing a game or laughing at a video, and there's value in that.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna do like one or two more questions, and then we're gonna head into what's delighting us today.
I think that's a great idea.
So how often do you get a new phone?
No sooner than 2 years.
Yeah, same here.
So I've gone 3 or 4 in the past for financial reasons, but I'm not an every year person.
I oftentimes struggle with the idea of, the longer you have a device, the less you get for trade-in value. And so there's a part of me that's like, well, if I don't do it every 2 years, then my trade-in value is less, which means that I end up paying more for the device when I get it. So there's like this, I feel like 2 years is kind of that sweet spot.
Well, yeah, and you also have to decide, are you going to play the game, right? Like, are you going to do the monthly payments, or are you just going to buy it outright up front? And then if you buy it outright up front, then you can sell it on the back end and get more. Like, there's different ways to play the game, and you just have to decide, which way is right for you. And it's
this calculus is probably going to get really interesting when Apple introduces their subscription plans. you'll be able to subscribe or to rent essentially a phone as opposed to buying it or financing it.
More options, more
Mhm.
ways for them to make more money.
Yep.
How fun.
All right, last question. What is your favorite computer or video game?
Hearthstone.
I
Done.
don't know.
Please say Minesweeper.
No, not Minesweeper. I would have to probably say, you know, as far as favorite all time, I would have to go back to Super Mario Brothers.
And I really thought you were going to hit us with some Mahjong.
No Mahjong. All right. Well, that's been fun. So let's take a look at what's delighting us today. What's delighting you today, Cam?
So I got a thing in the mail today, Mitch.
All right.
So I've been really getting into like I've always liked bonfires,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or fire pits and just sitting around a fire and, you know, either like roasting some food over it or some, you know, s'mores or having a beverage or three, you know, just enjoying the warmth and being with people and or just, you know, being by myself and just kind of being alone with my thoughts. Just around a fire is just it's peaceful and it's calming and it's good for my soul. And so to that end, I've been enjoying the solo stove that I got a month ago pretty regularly. And as with anything new, I tend to go down the rabbit hole pretty hard, pretty quickly with something that's new and intriguing to me. It's just, I've always been that way. And I discovered what is called, let me get the correct title here for you, the Sear Pro multi-use torch. And it is essentially, I'm going to send you
I've got it up on Amazon here.
Yeah. It's a handheld flamethrower. It's what it is. And I used it today for the first time, and it is awesome.
Yeah. Is that a gas can? Is that
yeah, so
gas?
it's those 1 pound propane tanks like you use for like camping grills or similar things like that. You know, they're about what, 10 inches tall, you know, maybe 5 inches in diameter, 16 ounces of propane. And so it's this plastic handle that looks kind of like a gun. And then there's like this flamethrower cone on the end, and the propane screws into what would be the barrel of the gun. And then there's a red dial on the top that gauges how much propane you're letting in. And then on the back, instead of a finger trigger, there's a thumb trigger, and that's the ignition. And you can go from just like a little like to full on like it's fun. So I got that to help get the bonfire going faster, and also to say that I own a flamethrower because
so I have to ask you, and I don't want to take wind out of your sails at all, but are you familiar with weed torches?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just a handheld one.
Yeah. I have one just outside this room hanging up on the wall in our stairwell coming down to the
and
basement.
So
and that's fun. Yeah.
I didn't just I mean I got it for the bonfire, but then I also realized I can actually use this as a weed torch too. And so that was one of the justifications. The other thing too is melting ice. Like there's a couple, and then you can also use it like if I was to do a low and slow steak, you can actually sear the steak. Like this is what these are used for as well. So like there's multiple uses for it. But ultimately I just wanted to say, yes, I own a flamethrower.
So my wife and I have a sous vide cooker.
Sous vide, yeah.
Yeah. So there was one night my wife and I were looking at it, and normally I just grab out the hand torch and torch it. And I was like, I got a bad idea. And I pulled this thing out. I pulled this thing out, and it's a long handle. Like it's a big thing. And so I'm standing there over the cooktop in the kitchen, and we've got a nice cast iron pan that we've got the meat in, and I'm just torching it.
Yeah, like I
Yeah,
looked at
I probably
at
should have
weed.
burned the house down, but
Well, there's that too. I looked at weed torches to start with,
yeah.
but I liked the handheld form factor a lot better.
I like this for what you're using it for. Yeah.
Exactly, and because those weed torches are long, right? And
Mhm.
so they're good. They're good in that sense. Like you're going to save your back because you're not bending over to,
Mhm.
But the handheld form factor and not being tied to a 20-pound propane tank, also like there was just a few considerations that I made, and I was like, I just think, and the other thing too is I can get a hose and attach the handheld gun to a 20-pound propane tank if I ever want to.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
mine uses those like welding torch cans, like those small ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and it just
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah.
See,
I don't know
the
if it's
ones
1 pound.
the ones I was looking at were just the torch and the hose.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
didn't
No,
have the
this one just
Interesting.
one of those
Yeah, that's
cans screws into it, and
that's
Mhm.
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's what's delighting me. And I lit it up and I like had like a little child giggle. I was like, like I have a flamethrower. And I'm gonna call it yogurt, the flamethrower, and those that get the reference enjoy.
there is a
The kids
picture.
love it.
There's a picture on the Amazon page for one of these.
Mhm.
And it's a dude all tatted up. It looks like maybe Latino in origin, but he's got two of them, and he's got them crossed in front of him. It's like, yeah,
Yep.
that's
Come
just
at
too
me, bro.
hilarious. So, all right.
So that's what's delighting me. What about you?
All right. So, I may have mentioned this on the show before, and I happen to be wearing one of them right now. But the Boston Scully hats. It's a website. It's a company out of Boston that makes these really kind of like a driver's cap. I've heard them called other things, but it's just like a Scully cap. And so it's got your little like kind of duck bill in the front, and the fabric goes from the top of your head all the way down to the bill, so you can kind of get an idea of what that hat looks like. But there's several different styles of these hats, and they make a lot of different styles of the hats in multiple different colors and designs. And I'm pretty stoked because I got a limited edition, what they call the Slante hat, that should be coming tomorrow with they said while supplies last, for a pint glass. It's a Boston Scully pint glass.
Oh, the Slancha one? Yeah, nice.
And so I'm pretty excited about this. I'll be getting that shortly. Is it back on their website? Because it was a limited edition hat.
Yeah, but it just says notify me, so they might be sold out.
Is that that's the patch one? Yeah, it's on the main
the
page
Slancha
here.
Boston Scally, yeah, the green and
Yep. So I got one of those.
it comes with the pint glass too. Nice.
Mm-hmm. While supplies last. So,
of course.
But yeah, so I was really, really stoked about this. The one that I'm wearing right now is the Boondocks limited edition hat. So it's all black with a black and green pattern underneath the brim. So, and then in the back of the hat, it's got a clover, like a black clover. So
nice.
Yeah, so they've got a bunch of their hats out now for St. Patty's Day. So there's one, the punk, that is like a really bright,
obnoxious green.
bright green. But the green is one thing, but when you look at the bill of the hat underneath, it's a checker pattern. It's a black and white checker pattern. And I thought that was kind of a cool touch.
Well, I mean, it is the punk, right? So there's your Yeah.
Yeah, you're very much your like 80s, 90s old school punk look. So
What size do you get?
I get extra large.
Okay. Do you know what your? Oh, it says baseball cap fitted. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, they
I'd have
get.
to go with the next. I'd have to go with the double X.
And see, I ordered a double X thinking that it was going to be the right size for me, and it was a little bit too big. So,
Well, so it's got the baseball cap sizes, and I wear a
mhm,
7 7/8,
yeah.
and the XL only goes up to 7 5/8, and the double X goes up to 8. So I'd rather have it be just a little loose than a
So,
little too
so the
tight.
warning about this is that these are all wool hats, and so they've got some stretch in them. And so if they like 7 5/8, like I think my head's probably just a little bigger than that. But when I wear this hat, like it fits pretty snug.
Mhm.
And where the double extra large was really loose on me. Like I could put a finger into both sides of my hat and it was still wasn't tight on my head. So
Yeah, well, I think mine might just be a little larger than yours.
yeah. So I
I'm,
mean,
I'm what they say, cranially endowed.
yeah. So here's the thing: is you can order one and you can return it and swap it out for a new one. It ends up costing you a little bit because because of the shipping and all that, you end up paying shipping twice. But if you do get one that's too big, you can swap it out. So,
Nice.
but they've got a ton of hats on their website,
Yeah, they do.
different colors and designs.
Ooh,
and
the flap cap. I want one of those for next winter.
I saw that and I was kind of tempted by that too.
I would immediately talk like this. Yes, lovely to see you, darling. Look, my ears are covered with my flap cap.
Oh,
I'm not sure what accent that was, but I just went with it.
my my fashion sense is questionable, but my ears are warm.
Very cool. Well, this is a fun website.
Yeah. So I love these hats. If I had the cash, I could spend a lot of money on this website. But I do not have a lot of cash, so I have to be very strategic.
There you go. These remind me of my grandpa. I have a similar hat to these. Oh, that one's cool. It's gray. It's like that, the classic, square, with the colored lines, and it's gray with like a slate blue, like a dark gray and slate blue that I enjoy. Makes me feel distinguished
Right on.
and like I went to an important school. Very cool.
Very cool. All right, so I have to fess up to something.
Uh-oh.
So I was working on getting our feeds all changed over and redirected and all that kind of stuff. And I realized after we got off the show last week, or the last time we recorded, that I messed something up, which is why it was taking so long. So I went in, I fixed it, but it's still taking a while to redirect. So it's taking an abnormally long time to redirect our feed. If it comes right down to it and it's not going to redirect this feed. Now, Apple Podcast is working just fine. You can get our podcast on Apple Podcasts without a problem. It's all the third-party apps that are still not caught up with it. So I've got Pocket Cast, and Pocket Cast still hasn't changed the feed. So I'm looking into if there's something manual I need to do to fix all this, but just so if anybody's listening to this, well, you're not listening to this if you can't get the feed, but if the nuclear option here is to just delete the feed and resubmit it to Apple and get it distributed out to the other apps with a completely different feed. But all of the podcasts, all of the episodes, everything has been migrated over to my Squarespace site now. So everything is there and is listenable. So hopefully this will be fixed soon. So all to save a buck.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you are looking for more information about us, you can check us out at our websites. You can find me at mitchcraig.online.
I can be found at cambrennan.com.
Very good. All right. And you do any social at all anymore? You still on Instagram?
I have an Instagram. I have an Instagram account, but that's really the only thing that I'm relatively active on. And it's at Cam Brennan because, I'm just frustratingly consistent with my naming of things.
And I am Mitch Craig at it's Mastodon without the vowels. So mstdn.social. It's a little easier maybe to find me if you just go to mitchcraig.online and there's a link at the bottom for Mitch on Mastodon. So click on that and that'll take you right to my Mastodon instance or my Mastodon, not instance, but profile. And you can follow me there. All right. You could be the first one to follow me. So one of the things that I'm digging about Mastodon, just as a side, is that I can post stuff on Mastodon and people see it without me. Like anybody that's on my instance can see it. And it's not necessarily in their home feed, but you can look at your local feed. And there are those that actually look at the federated feed, which is everybody, the fire hose of everybody on Mastodon.
That feels like a bad idea.
Yeah, it could be. But then there's the your local feed. So whatever instance you're on, you can go and you can see who's all on that feed. And then you can your own curated, like, here's the people that I follow, your home feed is available there as well. So I'm finding that I'm getting engagement on my posts from people that I have no clue who they are and I don't follow them. So it's interesting to see that coming through. I will also tell you that Mastodon is still small enough that I'm having conversations with people that I never thought. So I was listening to an episode of A Complicated Profession podcast, which is all about Star Wars TV shows that on Disney Plus. So they were doing their mid-season episode on the Bad Batch. And they got kind of in a loop of trying to figure out, well, what is this show? And so I sent a message to him on Mastodon and said, hey, this is the A-Team in space. And Dan Morin, who's on the show, I don't know if you know who Dan Morin is.
Yeah.
He messaged me back with a joke about his books that, I would probably enjoy his books, which I then got 2 of them on Audible. But they were also, I got a lot of engagement on that post from people who were like, wow, that totally makes sense. To the point where you actually have your big, tough, rugged guy that's afraid of heights. So it's just funny. So anyway, but it's been good. I've been enjoying that. All right.
Well, I haven't started watching that one yet. It's on the list.
Did you see the first season at all?
No, I have to. I mean, I'm behind on a lot of that stuff. So
the Bad Batch, it doesn't hurt to, you don't need to, but it doesn't hurt to at least watch the last season of the Clone Wars to kind of see where it's picking up from. But if you're going to do that, I would recommend just going back and watching the entirety of the Clone Wars, or get yourself a list of like the essential episodes of the Clone Wars and go through and watch just at least the essential episodes so you get all the backstory. And at least understand the story, because there's throwaway episodes in there that really aren't tied directly into the overarching story. So
very good.
All right. Well, it's been fun, man.
Indeed.
Always a good time. And you have fun in Detroit this weekend.
I will.
And we'll see.
First Red Wings game in 20 years.
Oh, very cool.
So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So, well, have a good weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. And in the meantime, have a good one.